Hey guys, RJ here, and I'm so glad to be back in the studio for this week because it is time to review the finale of Season 2 of The Expanse. This show is phenomenal. If you are not watching it, you are missing out on one of the best cable television shows out there, period. As always, guys, if you have not seen episode 13 of season 2 of The Expanse, please turn off this review, go watch it on Sci-Fi Channel or online, and then come back here. I don't want to spoil anything in this show for you. So we pick up where we left off last week with Christian, Cotillard, and Bobby Draper, and they are pretty much all on this cruise line that Mao pretty much exited the end of last episode. He just pieced out of there really quick as soon as Eremite had him on the phone saying, like, I shot down your ship. I'm gonna screw with you right now. He's basically, putting all of his cards out on the table, and Mao is not down for any of that. He's like, nope, I'm gonna get the hell out of here. I don't blame him in that case because Eremite is clearly like out for a vengeance at this point. But yeah, so he leaves, and that leaves pretty much Christian, Cotillard, and Draper just sitting there in the room. Obviously, then like there's a standoff going on, and Cotillard ends up getting shot. He takes another guy out, and we see that Bobby is like good at thinking on her feet. Obviously, as a Mars Marine, she's going into the computer being like, hey, I can see this access panel. I'm gonna go down there and get my armored suit. And I just love that like they brought it along anyway because they kind of knew that she would need it. Then we move back to the Rocinante crew, and they're finally joined up again after finally Holden came in last week and eventually saved the day, even though really I think the credit goes to Alex for kind of talking him down from being a maniac at the time. So yeah, Holden is back, and I just love the scene between him and Naomi where they're like just talking about like, hey, like one, I don't deserve credit for coming back. Like Alex, I just love that Holden like openly admits that it wasn't him that came back for her. And then I also like the fact that like, hey, like I'm really sorry for the way I've been acting. It's not who I am. And I love that Naomi's like, it's good to have you back. It's good to have Holden back. And I gotta say, I totally agree. I think angry Holden is just not the right character for him at all. And in general, I think the acting really fits Holden as a character when he is this guy trying to do right by everyone on his crew and really just in general. After all the apologies and hugs are given out, we go pretty much straight to Naomi and Alex, and they are walking over like, hey, let's fix the Rocinante. She got hit by some of that shrapnel in that battle. Like, let's go ahead and seal up the hole and stuff. And then they're just flipping screws through screens, and you see Naomi like, oh my God, what is that? So the Protomolecule hybrid decided to hop a ride on the Rocinante, take a trolley down to San Francisco, get some corn dogs of the game, you know what I mean? But seriously, they realize that it is down in the cargo bay, and pretty much I love the scene with Holden, and they're all gathered around the computer trying to like figure out exactly what they're gonna do. I just love the shot of them. It makes me think of the Rocinante crew. Like, this is my boys. Like, they are all ready to go. I love absolutely every single one of these characters, and just seeing them in that cool frame shot where they're all standing around each other, around Holden, letting him make the decisions again. I loved it. I'm glad to see the team back together. With that being said, I gotta say the original plan of let's go down there and shoot the shit out of it. Come on, guys. Like, have we learned from anything like so far in this series? Like, shooting bullets at a protomolecule is probably not going to do jack squat. And as we learn when they get in there and start, like firing away, because at first it's hiding. And once again, like we're seeing an intelligent life form. This is not some mindless animal that's just like like bashing things in and killing people for fun or whatever. No, this is like an intelligent creature, and they do not really understand it yet. And I think Prax brings up a lot of good points about that in this episode. But obviously, like people like Holden and Amos, they're realists. They see what's in front of them, and then like they're like, we need to get this off our ship 100%. Like, it's too unsafe to bring anywhere near like humanity and stuff. So yeah, they pretty much like come up with ways, and the only way they go in is with machine guns blazing. And yeah, the Protomolecule hybrid does not like that very much. He just randomly picks up this gigantic container and slams it at Holden. He gets pinned against the wall. Amos gets knocked to the side. His visor gets cracked, and like air is seeping out, and so he has to leave, and Holden is there left alone with the hybrid. Back with Christian's group, we have Bobby digging through tunnels, going through elevator shafts. She does not give a shit. I absolutely love her as a character in this show. She brings such like a badass balance to like sometimes like I think that we're getting very scientific, we're getting very intellectual into some things and like really big concepts, and then just to see like that badass character like Amos or something sometimes just like knock someone out, beat the shit out of somebody. This show keeps me very grounded because it has moments like that, and I just love her crawling through these tunnels, like trying to get to her armored suit. And there's some really funny scenes that we're going to talk about coming up. But I got to do the one right now where she comes out of the tunnel and pretty much the two security guards walk by, and she knocks the gun out of one guy's hand, pulls it up to shoot at another guy. And she ends up realizing like, oh crap, it's locked to his fingerprints or whatever, his biosignature. And yeah, so the gun doesn't work. And she ends up tossing it at the dude because the guy makes fun of her, and she tosses it at him and then just beats the shit out of both of them. Like, oh my God, dude, she is perfect for this role too. She like just does not take anyone's shit. And I feel like the inflection she gives off is constantly a pissed off mood. And I think that's perfect. So then we finally get to join Dr. Iturbi and Dr. Anus back at Venus, and they finally decide like, hey, all our probes are gone. What are we going to do? And once again, I love the play. Like these characters are like falling in love with each other now. They're both men of science, and they're just like ready to find this, like obviously something crazy is going on at Venus, and they're going to be the ones to discover it, or like that's at least what they think. They're very excited about this. I just love them together on screen now. It's like at first I was like, okay, this is going to be bickering the whole time. But now that they're like playing along with the bickering, it's absolutely, I love the dialogue for them. And I love that Adam Savage or whatever from Mythbusters is in this scene a ton. So yeah, they're talking about, now we need to go float down to Venus itself, and basically, like we need to go down there because we don't have any probes left. We need to see for ourselves exactly what's happening. And I love that both Iturbi and Anus are like, there's no way that Mars is just going to let us go down there. They've been, shadowing us for however long. We're definitely not going to get away with this like easy as pie. I do love the descent part of their scene, and I mean, I'm already going to say it right now, guys. The CGI for this episode, this finale, was phenomenal. Like, absolutely phenomenal. They knocked this stuff out of the park. Like, I'm just like, the solar flails, the sails coming undone and, like, popping out and stuff, and just the Rocinante with the Protomolecule hybrid. I mean, just everything this week, they absolutely nailed from an effects standpoint. So then we have, ironically, two people pinned down, one being Cotillard with Christian, and they're basically just trying to buy time for Bobby to get her suit and then come back and obviously kill the rest of the people that are there, and that way they can get out and get back to Earth as soon as possible. And then also on the other side, you have Holden, who's pinned down by that giant cargo box that the Protomolecule hybrid chucked at him, and he's like he's like been behind that for a while, and Amos even like jokes, but also talks about the fact that like, yeah, it's crushing your leg though. Eventually you could die with potassium leaking into your system and all of this stuff. Like there's only so much the suit itself can basically, circumvent. And yeah, and I love that he's like, yeah, I know how a lot of people die. Amos in general this episode gets really retrospective. Him and Naomi have a very interesting talk about like, no, I'm trying to make my own decisions now, and I just feel like I'm not making the right ones. And Naomi's, pretty honest with him, like, hey, maybe you haven't, but nobody really knows all the time what's the right thing to do. I think she realizes that like he's trying and stuff. I just love that like he ends up apologizing to her even though she stabbed him like 5 times with that. Oh my God, last week, like Naomi, like, come on, you need to apologize harder to Amos. He should not be apologizing to you. You stabbed a man with like anesthetic. Like, get out of here. So short of killing Holden, Prax comes through, and I'm gonna have to give him my MVP of the week. Because if he hadn't thought of this, Holden would probably be dead. They would have had to do, the suction out thing that they were talking about with Amos. Like, it would be sucked out the back, and it would probably, the pressure difference would end up killing Holden. So I got to give it to Prax this week. I mean, he came up with the, let's take a thermonuclear warhead and then just, throw it off the ship. I'm sure it'll go chase it. It's a nice, yummy treat. So yeah, but he definitely gets props. And I just love some of the scenes that like he's in where he's like trying to figure out like it's a nutrient grade and it's after something. And he gets like this hint from this beautiful shot lot of the plants around the light again. And I mean, I really like him as a character on the crew. I kind of hope he stays for a while. I mean, we find out some things at the end of this that might affect that, but I really do love Prax as a character. He adds a scientific knowledge base within the crew that they didn't have before. And in general, he seems like a really nice guy that really just wants to find his daughter. So yeah, I like him so far. I think he's done a great job. So they end up taking this warhead. They unshell it, they take it outside or whatever. And I love, once again, they're spacewalking and stuff. And Naomi's like telling him like, hey, don't look up and stuff. Just look at the ground. You don't know because there's no horizon for you to find and stuff. So you've never been in space. And yeah, just once again, I love they're keeping this like realistic. Like people that don't walk in space all the time would probably need to hear this stuff. And yeah, the minute details are what make this show a cut above the rest. This could be a very crappy show if they didn't include a lot of cool details, and they do a very good job at it. So they're outside, and of course they end up the protomolecule hybrid ends up getting very interested. They shut off the engine, and so the only radiation out there is this thermonuclear warhead. And I'm not going to lie, I was getting pretty worried there for a little bit. I did not think Prax was going to let that thing go. I thought maybe it was May, and then like it was just going to tackle him off the side of the ship, and they were just going to like float into the abyss together or something. I don't know. That's just, I was really worried there for a few seconds, but he gets his mind back. He snaps out of it. He ends up tossing it up into the air, and obviously the hybrid chases after it. And I do want to say something about the shot that we end up getting as a result of this. So Alex ends up turning the ship around. The engine is, facing towards the protomolecule hybrid, so when they turn it on, it's going to fry it. Is it just me, or is it in like the position, the protomolecule hybrid, is it in the position of a fetal position? Like, when a baby is in a womb, I feel like that kind of gave me that vibe, and that made me like really worried. Like, are we doing the right thing here? Like, is the protomolecule hybrid or whatever, is it that uncontrollable? Could it be talked to? I don't know. Like, I feel like that imagery right there when the ship, and it is beautiful, by the way, absolutely phenomenal, is the ship, starts up or whatever, and it starts burning it around it, and like you can see all of the colors on the inside of the hybrid, and yeah, it was beautifully done. I really am curious, like maybe it was really just like in that position on accident, but it really did remind me of, like a baby in a womb type thing. So I don't know, take it as you will, but I did want to at least throw out that was my thought. Okay, so we finally have to get to the funniest part of the episode, and that is this conversation between Bobby and this guy that is holding the door. I still don't know his name, and I'm not going to Google it because I don't care, but their conversation of like, yeah, I'm holding this, please don't beat me up. If you come and touch me, your suit's going to go bye-bye, and you're not going to be able to save anyone. And then she just like counters his logic, like, okay, well, if you do that, I'm still going to beat the living shit out of you right here and now. And she basically just like ends up like talking him out of what he's doing, and she's like, is it worth it? Are your masters worth giving your life for this cause? Do you even know what you're giving it for? And like she gets under his skin really quickly. Once again, Draper, oh man, like you are such a hard ass, but that whole scene just had me dying. Like this is like, I was like, this is beautiful comedy up in space. Like you guys are doing a great job at this. But yeah, that kept the mood like pretty light for like some heavier stuff that we do get this episode, obviously at the end too. But yeah, I absolutely love this scene. Oh, beautiful. So the end scene for this episode has a lot of things going on with it. A lot of stuff I really liked, actually. So it's pretty much like holding the whole gang that are up in the ship. He's finally got something on his leg to fix it. And so then Naomi asks the boys to leave, and she's sitting there and she's like, hey, I have something to tell you. And I immediately knew exactly what she was going to say. Yeah, but she ends up giving this amazing monologue about how the protomolecule has changed things. And, it's part of the equation now. Like there's no getting rid of it. It's out. Multiple people have access to it, and Holden's like very confused, like, okay, where are you going this? But while she's saying that, we're getting images and all that, and she's talking about humanity and its need to go to war with itself, and she's not wrong in any of this, saying like it's been like humans have been at war with each other since the beginning of humans, and that's 100% truth right there. So I understand where she's coming from, but obviously she told this lie. So we get all these cool images behind her while she's giving this monologue about humanity, about the protomolecule, and you end up seeing basically Draper finally got her power suit on, and she just beats the shit out of everyone that's there. And then what I think has to be one of the most important images that we get is the ship at Venus, right? So Mars Mars had sent a ship that went down in and they lost track of it. And they're like, how the hell is that possible? Like, it flew past them. Once again, it was an amazing looking scene, but yeah, it flew past them and they lost contact with it. And then all of a sudden, like, their ship stops. And so when Naomi's talking, it's pretty much, she's talking about the protomolecule and what it's going to do. And then you see the ship and it's being held there by like you can't tell what it's being held there by. And it pretty much gets like separated out. And it's like every single piece is like organized and stuff. And you see all the people inside. And I'm guessing that they don't have any air or anything. I don't know if the protomolecule was trying to provide air or anything like that, or if they're just, like dying in space. But why is it deconstructing the ship? I literally have no idea. I'm definitely going to have to like think about some things, come up with some theories, but it literally like splits everything out. And it's just like, it looks so, so cool. Love that whole bit, like in general, like just, and seeing their faces, like all the people, like Dr. Turby and Dr. Anus, they're just like they're obviously gonna die, but like they're seeing this thing that like they never thought that they could see. And yeah, I mean, that was just absolutely beautifully done. And the music playing during this whole thing, oh my God, like just absolutely nailed it. So yeah, Naomi ends up coming out to Holden saying like, hey, I kind of left the protomolecule and I didn't send it into the sun. And I also kind of gave it to Fred Johnson because, he's with the belt and stuff. So, okay. I mean, I do have to say, I'm glad it wasn't Doss. If it was him, I think we'd all be screwed. But yeah, so pretty much now the belt also has the protomolecule, might turn it into some sort of weapon. I really don't know what Johnson's going to do with it yet because he doesn't have anyone now, but yeah, I guess we'll eventually have to find out exactly what's going to happen with that. But now Holden knows, and, he's like obviously very pissed. He puts his hand over his mouth like, what have you done, Naomi? And what a great way to almost end it. So I'm like, okay, like the way that they fade out that shot, I'm like, okay, that's the end of the episode. That's the end of the episode, RJ. Like nothing else beyond this. And no, they end up giving us another great scene. We ended up getting this with the Doctor and May, and oh my God, this was such a good touch. This end scene, after that fade out, it's this moon near Jupiter, right? And it is Dr. Strickland, and he's there in this, what looks like a compound of some sort, and May is down in this, pretty much big-ass capsule, just like the one we saw just a little bit ago last episode with the, children and the hybrids, and they're basically freezing them. And so he's like standing over there and like, see you later, like night night. And he closes it and puts it in this gigantic bay. And that there are others. I saw the number 77 on there. I don't know if that means she's the 77th or like if this is like revision 6, but your imagination is the limit here. Like there are tons and tons and tons of bays in this facility that he's at. And I hate that he's just like whistling like do. Like I have a bunch of mass weapons here. The question is, do they belong to Earth? Do they belong to Mars? Do they belong to neither? Are these just like Mao's personal army that he's eventually going to have? I don't know, but man, like that end scene, it was a perfect amount of emotional touch at the end with Holden and Naomi's monologue. And then you move to this, it leaves you off on such a great cliffhanger. I could not have asked for more, guys, this week. This was phenomenal. Well, I think I have rambled on long enough. Hopefully you guys are still with me, but thank you so much for watching. The Expanse is one of the first shows that I've covered from start to finish. Well, I guess since the second season, but you know what I mean, okay? But it really is. It's an amazing show. I expected like what I would consider a 7.5 to 8 star show. Maybe the second season would dip a little bit, but no, they came out firing this season. The season 2 was absolutely amazing. I think I'm also just going to do a separate season 2 video and then maybe even a season 3 theory video over the next year or two. So yeah, stay tuned for a ton more Expanse content. I'm definitely not letting this go just because the show is over. I will definitely do some more things about it. And give us a like if you like this video. Subscribe to us here on YouTube. That really helps us out a lot. And until next time, guys, we'll see you soon.